It is the only unsolved skyjacking in commercial aviation history. On a freezing Thanksgiving Eve in 1971, a polite man in a dark suit ordered a bourbon, secured $200,000 in ransom, and then stepped out of the rear door of a jetliner into a stormy void, vanishing as if he never existed. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are exploring one of the most legendary mysteries in aviation history, the case of D.B. Cooper. This isn't just a story about a theft. It is a puzzle that has frustrated the FBI for over 50 years. While many of you know the basics of the skyjacking, there are strange details and overlooked clues buried in the files that most people have never heard. Details that we are going to unravel later in this video that might change how you see the entire event. It began on November 24, 1971, at the Portland International Airport. A man approaching the counter bought a one-way ticket to Seattle under the name Dan Cooper. He didn't look like a criminal mastermind. Witnesses described him as a business casual traveler in his mid-40s, wearing a dark suit and a black tie with a mother of pearl tie clip. He boarded Northwest Orient Flight 315 and took seat 18C. He ordered a bourbon and soda and sat quietly, waiting for takeoff. Everything seemed normal until shortly after the plane was in the air. He handed a note to the flight attendant, Florence Schaffner. At first, she thought he was just a lonely businessman giving her his phone number, so she put it in her purse without reading it. But here is the strange part. Cooper leaned toward her and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note was polite, but terrifyingly specific. It stated he had a bomb in his briefcase and wanted her to sit next to him. When she did, he opened the case just enough to reveal red cylinders and wires. But unlike most hijackers who are agitated or aggressive, Cooper was described as eerily calm. He wasn't shouting demands. He was negotiating a business transaction. He requested $200,000 in negotiable American currency for parachutes and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane upon arrival. Think about that for a moment. He asked for 4 parachutes, not 1. This detail confused investigators for years. Did he plan to take a hostage? Was he jumping with an accomplice? Or was he simply forcing the authorities to give him safe equipment by making them think he might take a crew member with him? The plane landed in Seattle, and the FBI complied. In exchange for the money and the chutes, Cooper allowed all the passengers and 2 flight attendants to leave the plane. He kept the pilots and 1 flight attendant on board, outlining a specific flight plan toward Mexico City. But he demanded they fly low, under 10,000 feet, with the landing gear down and the cabin unpressurized. It was a slow, low-altitude cruise into a dark, stormy night. Somewhere between Seattle and Reno, over the rugged terrain of the Pacific Northwest, the crew noticed a warning light flash in the cockpit. The rear air stair apparatus had been deployed. At approximately 8:13 p.m., the plane's tail dipped upward, indicating a sudden shift in weight. Cooper was gone. He had jumped into a freezing rainstorm with the money strapped to his body, wearing only a suit and loafers. This next detail is something most people overlook. He jumped into a wind chill of well below zero over a dense forest, a move that many expert skydivers say was virtually suicidal. What followed was one of the most extensive manhunts in American history. Law enforcement scoured the ground, while military aircraft searched from above. They found nothing. No body, no parachute, no money. It was as if the earth had swallowed him whole. Interestingly, The media created the name D.B. Cooper by accident. Investigators were questioning a man with the initials D.B., and a reporter confused that suspect with the hijacker, whose ticket actually read Dan Cooper. The name stuck, becoming a legend almost overnight. For decades, investigators, journalists, and amateur sleuths have all asked the same question: how did he disappear without a trace? The FBI interviewed hundreds of people, tracking leads that went from dead ends to wild theories. But this next detail complicates everything we thought we knew about the jump. In 1980, 9 years after the hijacking, a young boy digging a fire pit on the banks of the Columbia River found 3 rotting bundles of cash. The serial numbers matched the ransom money given to Cooper. This discovery at Tena Bar was the first and only physical evidence ever found outside the plane. But instead of solving the case, it only deepened the mystery. The money was found miles away from the calculated drop zone. Hydrologists and geologists have argued for years about how the money got there. Did it float down the river? Was it buried there by Cooper himself? Or did it land there when he crashed? Some researchers theorize that Cooper lost the money during the jump. Or perhaps he survived and buried some of it to return later, but never did. And if you think that's strange, wait until you hear about the tie he left behind. On the plane, Cooper left his black clip-on tie. Decades later, electron microscopy revealed particles of rare metals like titanium and antimony on the fabric. In 1971, these materials were only found in high-tech aerospace or chemical manufacturing facilities. This narrowed the profile significantly, suggesting Cooper was an engineer or a manager in the aviation industry, someone who knew exactly how a Boeing 727 operated. Over the years, many names have been put forward. There was Richard McCoy, who pulled off a nearly identical copycat hijacking months later. There was Robert Rackstraw, a former paratrooper with the skills to make the jump. Yet, despite compelling circumstantial evidence, DNA tests and alibis always ruled them out. Official records confirm that no suspect has ever been definitively linked to the crime. In 2016, the FBI officially suspended the active investigation into the D.B. Cooper case, citing the need to focus resources on other priorities. They reasoned that even if he survived the jump, he would likely be an elderly man or deceased by now. But the public fascination hasn't faded. The idea of the polite outlaw who beat the system appeals to something deep in the human psyche. Did he die in the woods that night, his body absorbed by the wilderness? Or did he walk out of the forest, wash the dye from the money, and live a quiet life under a new name? Maybe D.B. Cooper's greatest trick wasn't the heist, but the silence that followed. Mysteries like this remind us that in an age of surveillance and digital footprints, it was once possible to simply vanish. If you enjoy deep dives into unsolved mysteries and historical puzzles, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.